just entirely too many angles of me. Feels a little uncomfortable.
It should.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the ADHDan podcast. And then you can say,
what happens here stays here. It goes where it goes.
yes.
Okay. You want to try again?
Yeah. Welcome to the ADHDan podcast.
It goes where it goes.
Can you look at the camera and say that?
It goes where it goes.
Not the TV, the camera.
There's a lot of instructions. It goes where it goes.
Today's episode, I have with me someone very special. This is my wife, Liz McNulty. I made a name tag for her so everyone will remember who she is during the podcast if you stick around for this and if you're watching the video version. Do you recognize this box?
I do. I think I do. From high school?
It has all of the notes from high school, early marriage.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
From our prom. Okay, yeah, that's my name tag.
Well, yeah, so it has your name out here, so I'll just put that at the end of the table.
It's beautiful.
That, and then I found this, which I thought was pretty cool. So, there's no date. I'm guessing it's from your senior trip.
Yeah, we did
and
go
then
to
you drew
Florida.
us on the beach in Florida, and we were just there in February.
Yes, we were. Do you show your people? Is that... I don't know. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. Should I stop looking for now?
I mean, I do have some topics I would like to cover.
Is that my journal?
I don't know.
I haven't seen this journal in a long time.
See? And you yell at me for being a hoarder.
1999. I don't yell. I speak sternly.
So there we go. There's your name tag.
That's great. I love it.
You take that with you. That's a memento.
Oh, thank you. That's a big deal.
We just celebrated our 18-year wedding anniversary.
Yes.
So I thought I would help the celebration.
Oh my God.
With some Red Bull.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's very nice. It's fancy.
Where else are you going to get this kind of service?
Nowhere.
Okay, so give us some history, some background. Who is Liz with an S McNulty?
It's Liz with a Z, Elizabeth with an S. I am one of 7 children, the second born. I was homeschooled until junior high-ish. And then in the 9th grade, I went to a little tiny private school in Altoona where I met you. I got married when I was 19. I had our 4 children. Well, I was pregnant 5 times, so I had a miscarriage, but we had our 4 children by the time I was 26. I worked for myself cleaning houses in the beginning of our marriage. Then I took some time off and I was a full-time stay-at-home mom until our youngest was 4. I went into healthcare and now I'm doing completely different things.
What are some of the things today that years ago you would have looked at and thought, oh, there's no way that would happen?
We were married really young and I was raised by a stay-at-home mom, and once I started having children, I just figured I would be a stay-at-home mom. At best, maybe do something small on the side. I never thought of myself as a career woman, which I was for years when I did healthcare. Not a big fan of, like you say, climbing the corporate ladder. I did it too long and I was too tired. So I think I would be shocked at the fact that I am an entrepreneur. the amount of warriorness that I have adapted through just the fighting and the battles that we've gone through with our son. I don't think I would be surprised at all that I have 4 kids. I think I'd probably be more surprised that I don't have more kids, because probably in here is the letter.
Yeah, I think there's a picture that you drew in church that had the 2 of us and like
8 children.
At least 8 children on there.
Yeah, I mean, I liked growing up in a big family. While I was growing up in a big family, I mean, it's all I knew. So I always thought we would have a lot of kids, and it turns out 4 is a lot. We only have 4. That's a lot. So that wouldn't have shocked me at all, no.
I wonder how many people really caught my post, the Facebook post on our anniversary. Did you even catch it?
I did. It's always so sentimental. Mine are always so like silly and...
No, I'm saying, but did you catch the...
Probably, but I can't remember.
Sexual joke in there?
Probably not. Or I might have told you.
18 years ago?
No, that is good.
Yeah.
Inappropriate, but nobody could have gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
4 children in 18 years.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
But I was pregnant 5 times, so...
Right.
But anyway.
Talk about your new venture.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of how that started and where it is now, and then future plans.
Okay, this Red Bull's making me burp. So maybe
No, that's staying in.
You knew what I was going to say. So my new venture is that on December 1st, 2021, which is like Wednesday, I'm going to be the proud business owner of one of the most incredible businesses that I could have ever dreamed up. It's called Mosaic Sisters. So we'll start with how Mosaic Sisters came about, and then we'll go into the background of why I love doing what I'm doing. So the pigeon is distracting.
It's Petey.
I know. I forget his name. I'm sorry, Petey. So, Mosaic Sisters is it's incredible. It's a community. It's really a subscription program where you pay $9.99 a month and you're part of this community. And for that $9.99, you get classes with our therapist named Liza. She's lovely. She's from the UK. So you get anxiety classes, workshops where we learn new recipes, we learn how to sew or how to crochet, or we just craft and have a good time. We have live journaling. We do soul searches where, like, this month was gratitude. And every single day, all of us in the group, I mean, we missed days, but there's hundreds of women in this group, and every day we thought of something we were grateful for, and then we took that, whatever the theme was, like if it was a warm blanket, then we would figure out how to give warmth into the world, whether it was donating our extra blankets to the Women's Help Center, or cuddling our kids, or whatever it was. It was like every day, hundreds of women around the world were giving back what they so abundantly have been given. And every month there's another soul search. And it's incredible to me that, I mean, I love the community, I love the women, but I think what blows my mind, and I will never take credit for this because this is not me, this is a group of some really kick-ass women that just want to be the best version of themselves. So what I love most is that they are changing their lives, and they're changing my life, and they're changing each other's lives. So you also get a sticker each month that correlates with the Soul Search, and it's just a really incredible program. It existed under the name of Ambassadors since 2020. One of my dearest friends and also my boss for like 3 more days, Robin Rosenberger, owns Tiny Superheroes. Yes, I love her. So this is Robin, and this is her scooter, Hope. And I met Robin in 2013 via the interwebs because she owns Tiny Superheroes. And what Tiny Superheroes does is a million things, but it starts with empowering individuals with extra abilities or chronic illness with a cape. And then you get patches, and it affects your whole family, and it's a journey, and it's something that's really incredible.
So how did Ambassadors come out of that? If it was a program, really the program was something to empower the children and their siblings and any other kids close.
Yeah.
How did that expand to parents or women? Or
So Robin's idea was, since 2013, she's been empowering children with disabilities, but nobody was paying attention to their moms. So Ambassadors came about to empower the women raising the children that are being empowered. I'm getting like so many chills because it's like really powerful. So I had worked off and on part-time since 2019 for Tiny Superheroes. I started just as the admin of the Facebook page. Fast forward to this year, I became the ambassador program leader in the spring. And then Robin started focusing more on Tiny Superheroes. It's growing, it's expanding rapidly. It's an incredible mission. It's an incredible business. It's just going places. So many burps. So anyway, Robin started focusing more on Tiny Superheroes, and I was full-time ambassador program leader, and it changed my life. So I'm leading these women, and these women are leading me, and we're thinking of new and exciting ways to do it, and it's getting bigger and it's getting better. And then it kind of came to a little bit of a standstill because we were only marketing to women within the Tiny Superheroes group, which we never refused any woman. So we have women in the group that don't have children. We have women that have children without extra needs. So there's a variety of women in the group, but we never marketed outside. And so I felt like there was a little bit of a wall because Tiny Superheroes is this big, beautiful tree, and Ambassadors was only one branch. And one day, not that long ago, Robin was like, how do you feel about taking this? Because it doesn't fit in with Ambassadors. At the trajectory of it was going in a different way. Maybe I'm saying that word wrong, but
yeah, the trajectory was different.
It was different. You know, Tiny Superheroes was going full speed ahead one way, and Ambassadors was going full speed ahead another way. So the day that she said that, I was like, yes, this is my dream. So I told Robin about my dream, and Robin said, I just need to focus on Tiny Superheroes. I love these women, and you are the only person in the world that I would trust to do this. You know, Robin made the Ambassador's baby, but then I nurtured it and grew it and helped it. And now on the 1st, it will be mine. Same women, same amazing women, more women. We want to have different options. Like, there's so much within the group, but then it's like if you really want to do a specific kind of yoga, or you want to join a nutritionist 4 times a month, or you want another class, you know. So all of these items that you can have that are like kind of a la carte items. But there's nothing like it in the world that I know of. So
Well,
it feels really cool.
to me, it just sounds like you're just being the next Rachel Hollis, right?
No.
Because you're just inspiring women, you're kind of teaching them. So,
Nope. So
what's the difference?
The difference between Rachel Hollis and I is that, no disrespect against Rachel,
That
type of self-help.
everything is perfect. It's all perfect. It's all
Right.
sunshine and rainbows.
So the reason that you bring that up, I think, is because for a while I was like trying the Rachel Hollis way, and I was failing. And instead of feeling better, I was feeling worse. I was getting up at 5 a.m, and I was drinking kale, and I was working out. And it's not that particular person. It's the self-improvement idea that you are not good the way that you are. So any self-improvement or self-help guru, this is what I think of it as. It's like they give you a box, and it's white, and it has specific, like 3 or 4 specific tools in it. And the idea is you keep coming back by buying books and listening to podcasts and going to their conferences. You continuously are working on buying more tools. They're not even your tools. Like, you're not a morning person, but you buy the wrench that says you get up at 5 a.m. You hate kale, but you get the kale anyway because that's the tool that has to be in the toolbox, because there is a specific way that you have to be in order for your life to be okay. And I think that that's absolute bullshit. Again, nothing against people that are doing it, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've talked with, I think most recently Nick, about. It's like each person is so individual, and we like to think of people as, well, this is one size fits all, just with everything.
Yeah.
With self-help, we think, oh, well, this is for everyone. Or, going back to the box analogy, we tend to put people in boxes. So, yeah,
We do.
that's a big difference.
And what works for Rachel Hollis or Sally Smith or Cindy Lou Who isn't necessarily going to work for me. So I was born with my tools already, I think.
Do you think everyone is born with their tools?
I think that everyone is born with a lot of the beginning of their tools. Like, when you're born, I mean, and this, I could be totally wrong, but I think this is a really good question. I think you're born with different likes and sometimes different dislikes, or different skills and abilities that obviously aren't nurtured or grown yet, but they're genetic or whatever. And then you grow up and you're raised a certain way, and then the tools are just embedded more inside of you. So there are tools that you can get because you want them, but the real true tools of compassion and kindness and empathy, generosity, I think most of those are part of you, whether it's birth or what are the 3 things that mold you? Your,
Like nature, nurture, and I say education.
yeah. So I think that,
which is kind of nurture, but I kind of we talked before how I kind of take that to a different level. I think education, nature is what you are born with, like, not necessarily, I don't know, just your disposition, I guess,
Yeah.
like what you're born into.
yeah.
Class, your genes, your makeup, your everything. So I think that is nature. Nurture is the outside elements that affect you and
Not
who
just
you
your
become.
parents.
It's everything that you're exposed to. And then I feel there's a third element that I just call education. I think that it is what you seek out and what you question and the education that you gain for yourself. So that's more of like the, I don't know, not introspective. I can't think of the word, but it's more like I have control over everything around me, like my environment. Why can't I think of that word? And some people think I don't have any control over my environment. Do you know what I mean? They're two. Okay.
Now, I was thinking...
But yeah, I think that those are the three things.
Yeah. And so when I say born with, I guess I'm thinking more of just innately inside of you through those three things. Where were we?
It's ADHDan, so
like we're wherever.
Yeah. We could be in space right now if you want.
Oh, no, good.
I should actually have a green screen behind the set, so then we could put it anywhere we want. Okay, you can go back to your...
No, I was just thinking like, so the analogy of the toolbox. And then, you want to keep doing more and get more tools, and you want to go from a white toolbox to a yellow toolbox to a blue toolbox till you eventually have the gold toolbox. And these people, I'm like, are you really doing this? Like, I see you in your mansions or your beach houses or whatever, and it's like, you swear that if I do these things, I can also be like you. And it's like, but I don't want to be like you. I have a rainbow toolbox maybe, and my tools are different than your tools, and I will never be a night person. I'll always be a morning person. I will never be good at math, and that's okay. It's also about like, we're born with different abilities, and so I've recently found out that I have like a learning disability, which I knew, but I was diagnosed with it. But I think that I've accommodated for so long. But people would say, you can do this, you just need to study more. You need to read more, you need to pay attention more, you need to be more confident. And it's like, no, like that's not my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is very different than your wheelhouse. Like what you do well is almost completely opposite of what I do well.
But they fit together.
They fit together so well, which is kind of weird.
But that's another tangent.
Yeah, that's like... My therapist friend Liza can tell us if how our energies fit, and I'm pretty sure they fit pretty well.
I should have her on the podcast.
Oh my God! Yes.
Okay. So back to my question about tools. I asked if you think everyone is born with their tools. Whether for you it's a wrench and a hammer. For me, it's a screwdriver and a drill or something
also
like that.
Known as creativity. And
yeah, but I think you can take those tools and you can grow them and strengthen them. But also if there are other things that you say, I would like to have that tool, then you can work
on it. And sometimes like there were tools that I wanted that I just didn't get, and I tried to work out every day and things like that, and it didn't work, and that's okay. And I probably could get those tools, but I don't want what it takes. I don't want to do what it takes to get those tools. I think also, so say I was born with a screwdriver and a wrench, I think as I grow up, I'm handed more tools, or I'm not handed them.
You have the opportunity.
I have the opportunity to get them, to grow them, to sharpen them, to use them. So maybe I was born with 2 tools and now I have 10. And that just comes through like pure hard work and, some of how you're raised and what you're taught is important. And what you tell yourself is important. So now I have this rainbow toolbox with 10 tools, and
I was thinking maybe it should be clear so it's not offensive.
I don't think rainbow's offensive. Rainbow, I'm all about gay pride. I have like the coolest brother in the world that's gay.
Right.
Okay.
I said, I want to walk that cancel culture line, but that might be a little much.
Let's say my toolbox.
It's clear.
It's cobalt blue. No, I want it to be blue.
Okay.
No one's going to cancel you for cobalt blue.
Yeah, because that's the police flag, the thin blue line.
I feel like ADHD.
It's a clear toolbox.
Okay, so
clear toolbox. Clear toolbox.
Okay, so my toolbox is clear. When women come into the group, I want them to say, I want my toolbox is red, or my toolbox is yellow. You know, I want them to be able to pick, or maybe they've already picked by who they are, what their toolbox is, and they have different tools. And so when the women are in the group, it's like together we are sharpening and learning and growing. And I can think of, I want to say their names, but I don't know if it's wrong, but I can think of these women in this group, and their faces are coming to my mind, and they have, you know, the softest spirits, and then some of them have the loudest, most beautiful souls that just like hit you in the face. Like, it's like incredible how much you know about these women that you've never met in person. So that's where it is, where I want it to be, is growing. And, you know, I've got big dreams, like conferences, maybe a retreat, you know, that a book someday. And then I've got, and then I wanted to go to the experience, like why I am where I am. And I talked about why I am where I am when it comes to this group, but, you know, so because it's ADHDan, this is what I'm thinking, and I think it's gonna fit in, but I'm not totally sure. So
ADHDan.
Sorry, ADHDan Juris. So anyway, when I was little, there were a lot of kids and
siblings.
Yeah, there were a lot of siblings. And life was like kind of chaotic, but I remember it was a good life, Mom. It was a good life. But it was busy, and I remember, you know, my brother could sing, and you know, my sister could draw, and I just remember when I watched my siblings do different things. My sister go to college, and my brother go to the Marines, and I remember thinking for a very long, like, sad amount of time that like I visioned all of these children just lined up, and I was in the middle. And from a very young age, I would see this, and it would be like a hand, like it was God. And God was passing out talents, like singing and skateboarding and like a terrible bike rider. and then some kids got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And every time he did it, in my head, which is, like I said, really sad, but he missed me. Like, I genuinely thought that God just missed me. It took a very long time for me to realize that I am very talented, but that talent doesn't always look like singing or skateboarding. It doesn't always look like painting or sculpting. Talent can look like this. Talent can look like loving. Talent can look like nurturing. Talent can look like caring. So when our youngest was 3 or 4, we have a child who was born very sick, and he was around 3 or 4. He had a gastrointestinal jejunal feeding tube. So he had a feeding tube that went into his stomach, and then it went down way past into his small intestines. He had a central line. He was a sick kid, and he was in the hospital a lot. Well, he had nursing in the home. We had a home health nursing company that was just so good for him. It's how we slept, and it's how we Dan worked, and it's how he was able to go to school. And the boss and then the boss's boss of this company decided that it would be really cool to have a mom. And I was that mom. And like, when I look back, I don't think I realized how incredibly incredible that was. So I got hired as the family support specialist for the division of this company. When I started, the division was pretty small. It had 4 small offices in Western PA. And then during the pandemic, I got furloughed and ended up taking another job, still in healthcare. But so basically what I did was I was a mom with a high school diploma. Well, I don't even have a high school diploma. I threw it away. Like, I didn't think I needed it, or I was packing. I don't remember, but with high school transcripts. And I had the privilege of working with families all over Western PA. And my job just blossomed. You know, it was like, it started with help these families adjust to having nurses in their home. And then it like blossomed and branched and grew into so many things. And it was one of the most incredible times in my life. It's where I learned how to support women. And then, I mean, through every stage. And sometimes it was really hard and really sad. And other times it was really happy.
I mean, along those lines, I think we've talked in length before about when we first found out there were problems, like complications with the pregnancy. I mean, both of us being very churched, raised in the church, our friends, everyone was in the church. I think one of the hardest things during that time was almost a lack of the right kind of support.
Yes.
And I think one of the hardest things, to go into more detail, was people who thought that they were giving support by saying, we're praying that that he's going to be healed, that this is all going to go away, and God has the power and the strength, and he can do this, and if you just pray and believe. And I think that's when a lot of my beliefs started to take shape, because I think at that point I looked at it as, you know, I know that God can do this, but
I know that he might.
Like, what if you think about like when Jesus was on the cross and he said, not my will but yours be done. And I thought, you know, he didn't want that, but he knew that God had a bigger plan. We didn't want Case to go through that. We didn't want our daughters to have to go through that. We didn't want to go through it, but we wouldn't be who we are today without that. Right.
And I don't know if we ever talked about it. Like, we definitely didn't talk about it during the time. Like, I was 25 or 26, and you were 26. I don't know. So we were very young, and I don't ever remember talking about it, but I remember the night that I decided, I'm not going to cry. That's not what I decided. I remember the night that I decided that no matter what happened, whether he was born dead or alive, no matter how sick he was, that it was going to be okay, I was watching a show, like some dumb reality show. You must have been at work, and the verse, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will in Jesus' name. And I was like, there it is. And I know I have journals somewhere about this, and because it was very, very, very difficult. The most difficult thing I ever did was probably that pregnancy, because the further we got into the pregnancy, the more, the sicker he got, you know? So with every sonogram and every doctor's appointment, his prognosis was worse. They found heart defects in kidney. There's one kidney, the other kidney was sick. He was small, he was deformed. He was, on December 8th of 2010, they told us to prepare to bury him. So mid-pregnancy, I remember thinking, he is yours. And I would pray and I would say, okay, God, the baby is not ours, he is yours. And I had this weird peace, not that I wanted him to die, because I did not, but I had this weird peace that whether he lived or died, that he would be okay, because he is only ours to borrow. Whether it was for the pregnancy, or a day, or a month, or a year, or 20 years, or 80 years, he still belonged to God. So that was when a lot of my beliefs, it's like they physically had to change, or I would have been miserable, because I had no control. The beginning of the pregnancy, I prayed for healing, and I begged for it. And then all of a sudden, you know, I had that night, and I wrote in the journal, and I had this dream and this vision, and he said he was okay. The baby said he was okay, and I saw that he was okay. And I remember from that day forward, it was, whatever happens, happens. So you do your will, and I will be here. But I really, really want him to live.
I just saw or heard a quote yesterday about, like, when we get worked up when trials and things come into our lives and we stress about them and we just take on this really negative energy. And I don't remember the quote, but basically what it says is we need to celebrate when those things come into our lives, because it's a learning opportunity and it's a chance for growth.
Yeah.
And that's just...
It's exactly what it was. And, you know, I can think back to times when, some really hard times, and it wasn't just him. It's like, it is very difficult on the whole family. So, you know, there were times when I watched my girls hurt. And I, because this is the ADHDan podcast, I think I'm going to tell the story. So, when Case had lines and tubes inside of him, you would go to the hospital. Like, we would go to the hospital at the drop of a hat. It was like, he had a fever, he had to go. He had this, he had to go. And it was like, you get him there quick. You pull out the bag that's already packed, and you go. And sometimes you're there for, you know, hours, sometimes days, sometimes months. I have no idea what was wrong. I just remember putting some last things in the bag and scurrying around, and Meredith was really struggling with anxiety, and she was little, 9 or 10, 11. And she's like, but when are you going to be back? And what about my play? And what about the $10 that I need for the field trip? And I was like, Grandma's going to take care of it. Daddy's going to be home most of the time. So I was assuring her and I was reassuring her. And I'm like, not paying any attention, thinking just, you need to calm down. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So I look up and she said, she holds up her sleeve or her arm, and she had a tank top on, and she said, and look, there were like these 2 little armpit hairs. She's going to be mortified. Who's going to teach me how to shave?
She won't watch this.
Yeah, she won't watch this. Who's going to teach me how to shave? I have armpit hair. And I just, at that moment, was like, holy shit, these kids are stronger than most adults. Like, they don't know when I'm coming back. They don't know what's going to happen. It's like Meredith wanted to know step A, B, C, D, and E in order to feel stable, and she never had that. So she had to work around it. And just for the record, she came to the hospital and I got a little orange razor from the nurse and I taught her how to shave her arms. But it affects everybody, and a lot of their qualities and their tools, our daughters, are because they lived this life, the life of a family with a sick kid.
That if God would have healed or taken care of the situation, I say taken care of, like,
made it what the world
if he would have answered everyone's prayers, then we wouldn't be here. Any of it.
No, and I'll tell you what I hate, and I wrote a blog about it. I should find it. So all of my grandparents are deceased, and I love them all. I had one particular grandmother that said to me, so we were selective through the pregnancy a little bit on when we told people, what we told people. There were some things that we still don't talk about because it was just not what we wanted to share. And we didn't tell everybody right away how sick the baby was. I don't even know if we told everybody right away that the baby was sick because we wanted to be able to navigate it on our own. So my grandma, bless her heart, said the thing that everybody says when everybody's pregnant that they need to stop saying is, well, as long as it's healthy. And it stung so hard because it wasn't. And I remember thinking, and what if he's not? What if he's, and because we didn't know the gender for a while, but I just remember thinking, what if the baby's not healthy? Like, why do we say that? It's wrong. Because health is so valuable. Like, I would have literally given anything, my life included, for that baby to be healthy. But because I couldn't, that was one of the hardest things that anybody said to me. And I'm sure they said it 1,000 times for the girls, and I never thought twice. I thought, oh yeah, as long as the baby's healthy. Well, then when the baby's not healthy, you really think, well, then what? Then I get a new one? Then I change it? Then what do I do? Then I love that baby. All of it. The healthy parts, the unhealthy parts, the deformities, everything. Because all we want for our children is health and good things. But when we cannot control it, we just want them to be confident and happy exactly the way that they are.
So how does this tie in with your plan for Mosaic Sisters? So, I mean, it started in the special needs community. How is it going to continue to be special needs oriented, or how, like, what's your plan there?
This is the golden question. There is concern within the group that when it's more open or advertised to the public, that it won't feel as safe for the special needs community, because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like, and I And I feel that same concern, because when you're in the hospital and your son is freaking septic, and then you pull up Facebook and somebody's upset because their child is teething and they're complaining and it's the worst thing in the world to them, it's freaking annoying. Like, it's hard. It's you're in one place and they're in another place, and they're not purposely trying to upset you, but then you take it and you internalize it, and it's an issue. So I get it, and I feel the same way, but we have so many women that only one part of them is the fact that they're a special needs mom. That's just one part. There's so many other parts, and so my dream is that my experience with Case, my experience with the nursing agency, my experience with supporting families, my experience with these women will only make me better to support women from all backgrounds. I mean, we don't have time. This would be a whole nother podcast, but I've struggled so much with my own mental health, and growing up, it was like, take an aspirin and pray about it. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but that's what it was. There was no really addressing, you feel anxious, you feel scared, you feel fearful. And so I think that all of these things, from Case to the home health care, all of that ties in along with my own mental health journey and enables me to be able to, I hate the word lead, but hold hands with these women and walk forward, regardless of what their background is. It could be that they're a special needs mom. It could be that they dealt with domestic abuse. It could be that they can't have children. It could be simple. It could be complex, but it's one part of them. So I think that part of me has made me more compassionate than I've ever been. It has made me want to help hurting women. It has made me, believe it or not, step out of that special needs. I'll always be a special needs mom or a mom of a special needs child. I'm sure that I'm saying it wrong. It's just one part of you. But it's just one part of me. And so what I want these women is all of their parts of them to come together to inspire each other. When I started seeing women come in that didn't have children with special needs, nobody knew, but I watched them behind the scenes. I watched them sponsor other women. I watched them love other women. I watched them grow. I watched them thrive. I mean, they were such a huge part of the community. And I don't want the only commonality to be that you're the mother of a child with special needs. I want it to be that you are a woman wanting to be the best version of yourself.
I think that goes, actually kind of loops back around to the toolbox idea, because we all have tools, like you were saying, but we have different things that we need to work on or fix. So we all need different tools.
Yeah.
So I think just with a group like that, you have all types of women coming with all different types of, I don't want to say problems, situations, hardships, hurdles.
Celebrations.
Yeah. And just to connect people and just refine their tools for what they need to use them for.
Yeah.
And I watched a video with Elon Musk this past week. He was really putting down school, and I showed Case, which was probably a mistake.
Terrible idea.
But he said the problem with school today is that how we teach, we say, here's a screwdriver, learn this screwdriver. You have a Phillips, you have a flathead. Here is a pair of pliers. Here's how you can set them up. These are the grips. This is where it grips the nut. He said the problem with that is we're not showing them the practicality of those tools. he said the way that we should be teaching in the school setting is saying, here is an engine in a car. Mm-hmm. This is how it works. Here are the tools that you would use to fix this. So it puts it into practice. And I think that it's a great way to look at teaching and education in general.
I agree.
But I think that's about it. I did want to get into a couple questions.
Oh, please.
The one that was submitted was, if you could relive any day in your life, which day would that be?
I don't want to do that because if I relived a day in my life, I would be giving up a day that I haven't lived yet. And I just want to live every day. Yeah. I like each day for, even the hard days taught me so much that if I relived a day, like tomorrow, then I wouldn't have tomorrow. So I want to have every day until the day I die.
Also, we went to a cabin a few weeks ago, so I'll cut some of those questions in there also.
I was tired and I didn't have data.
And I had the focus set on you in your chair when we recorded, and then gradually you moved back. Mm-hmm. So you're out of focus a few shots, but I'm still going to add it because I think it's real. There's some good stuff in there. Mm-hmm. I actually had a couple people submit questions, and someone is interested. They want you to tell the story of how Liz met a dangerous man.
Oh my God. First of all, is that really how they worded it? Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. So we met. Dan doesn't remember the first time we met. I saw him at a play. He doesn't remember seeing me, and I am pretty sure that my friend Deanna introduced us. That was in the 8th grade. And then in the 9th grade, I ended up deciding that I wanted to go to the school. I didn't know him. I didn't go because he was there, but it was a small private school that I wanted to go to in 9th grade. And that's where we met. He was just as dangerous back then. I can't even say it. And I remember him flirting with me throughout the day, but at the end of the day, he wanted a piece of juicy fruit gum, and I said no. And that's...
What did I say?
I feel like you called me mean or something.
I said I hate you.
Oh, see,
I'm pretty sure that's the first thing that I ever said to you, was I hate you.
Well, I didn't take offense.
So there was a question for me. When did you first realize that you wanted to be a videographer? And what was your first completed video project? Yeah. So, I think there are a couple ways to answer that. When did I realize I wanted to do that as a hobby? When did I realize I wanted to do it as a profession? Because hobby started in high school, I think. I think it was like 10th grade. My parents got back even farther than that, further. 4th grade, my parents were gifted around Christmas a VHS camcorder that you had to carry a pack with you. And I remember recording just videos around the house, not like storytelling, just I liked being able to record something and watch it on TV. And then high school would do like skit videos, jackass videos, claymation. And then no one pushed me toward that, so I just tried to go to school and climb the corporate ladder. And then mentally, physically, I couldn't handle it, so I left and started a video company. My first completed project was heat just kicked on because Liz is really cold. My first completed project, I thought about that, was a commercial for a chimney cleaning company.
Oh, yeah.
Which, it was rough. It's rough looking back at some of that stuff, but I think that shows growth. So I think it's healthy to look back at it.
Yeah, I think you're also your worst critic. It's ridiculous.
Okay. So the next question, I think, is kind of for both of us.
Okay.
But I'll let you start.
Okay.
How do you keep a marriage fresh, especially with a large family?
What's a fresh marriage? Like good?
To me, I think, yeah. Like still keeping excitement and...
Well, that's just that's easy. That's our theory. Each person decided 18 years ago that we were going to always try to give 100%, so that when the other one was only giving 20, and we could only maybe hit 80, it's still a good marriage.
For me, I think it's making an effort to do more things like this.
Yeah.
Because I think we get so caught up in jobs and kids, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think sometimes you forget the foundation that kind of why you started.
Mm-hmm. And I think we were married so young, and when we first started talking about how everybody says that it's 50-50, and we decided on the 100-100. We didn't make the theory up, but we decided to live by that theory and be married by that theory. I think that helps so much, because when I'm having a really bad day, I can tell that you're trying really hard to be extra awesome. And when you're having a bad day, I try really hard not to be like, well, you're not even giving 50%. Instead, I want to be like, okay, this is our 80-20 day. I have to push a little harder, be a little nicer.
I like it.
So every stop we ask another one?
Okay, so I have one more question. I know I already said last question, but will you go to the attic with me?
I don't want to go to that attic. Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So here I am in the attic, all by myself, because she didn't want to come up. I think it could be because of what I did to her earlier.
Dan, this is not your house. What are you doing? Dan. Make me hurt you. Where are you? No. Dan, stop.
I just want to thank you for coming down here with me today.
You're so welcome.
I hope it was a good experience for you.
It was.
But also want to thank Anthony Menzia for the intro and outro music.
Oh, it's very good.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Love you.
Love you. Okay. Thank you for watching. Any closing remarks?
Thank you for marrying me. That was nice.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
I guess that's all.
This is insane, Dan. I'd have been 15. This was before I even met you. This might have been the first day of